Question 10. Here is your last question to prepare you for tomorrow's test. This does have two parts. It's a little bit longer than the others, but this is the last question. Okay, 2x squared plus 10x minus 7 equals 0. Part A, state two different methods you can use to solve this equation. So we discussed four different methods. We discussed inverse operations or taking square roots. We discussed factoring. We discussed completing the square, and we discussed the quadratic formula. So we could definitely use quadratic formula here. Okay, we could use quadratic formula really for any quadratic equation. Sometimes the other ways are faster, but it definitely works for any. Now let's see, would we use factoring? Would we use completing the square? Would we use inverse operations? Well, we can't use inverse operations because I see x squared and x, two unlike terms. I can't combine them, so I can't use inverse operations. What about factoring? Let's see if it's factorable. So I would have to do the earmuffs, right? 2, -7, that's -14. Are there two factors that multiply to -14 and add up to 10? Well, there's 1 times 14 does not add up to 10. There's 2 times 7 does not add up to 10. So I don't see factors that work, not factorable. So that leaves us with complete the square. And if you said that right away, then you were totally right. I just wanted to run through all of the different options and see why the others don't work. But complete the square definitely works. And 10x has to be divided into 4 parts, because if we're doing 2x squared, we're doing 2 perfect squares, right? We need x term here, x term here, x term here, x term here. So it's going to be 10/4. It's not going to be a whole number. It's going to be 2.5, but that's fine. We could complete the square with a fraction. It's not wrong. It is possible to use that method. But in part B, where it says use one of the methods, I would choose to use the quadratic formula here, because it's not going to be a whole number for the perfect square. It's going to be x plus 2.5 squared, which is kind of complicated to work with. So I'm going to take 2x squared plus 10x minus 7 right down here. And I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula. So let's just recall what the quadratic formula is. Negative b, well, x equals, because we're getting solutions, negative b plus or minus root of b squared minus 4ac, all divided by 2a. So now, in my equation, that first number, that coefficient of x squared is the a, so 2 is a, that 10 is b, and -7 is c. So I'm going to replace b with 10, and b again, well, that's 10 again. And then I'm going to replace a with 2, and I'm going to replace c with -7, and I have a on the bottom, so that is same value for a, 2 again. Okay, now I'll try to simplify this. If you prefer to use a calculator for that whole radical, that's fine. So we have x is equal to -10 plus or minus square root, and here's where we need to simplify. 10 squared is 10 times 10, which is 100, minus 4 times 2 times -7. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times -7 is -56, but it's minus -56, so that becomes plus 56. Now the bottom we have 2 times 2, which is 4. So x is equal to -10 plus or minus root of 100 plus 56, 156 over 4, and that is our solution. As I mentioned, I don't ask you to try and simplify the radicals. I don't teach that in my Algebra 1 class. So this is enough. This is your solution. And with that, we finished the review for your test, which is tomorrow. If you want more practice questions, you can watch the questions that I posted for last week's quiz. Okay, those questions are on the same topic. Or you could work on your Khan Academy assignments from the past few weeks. If you have any specific questions or concerns, feel free to email me. I'll be happy to help you. Have a great night.